Thank you all for being here. So, Department of Art, I'm a photographer, but I actually prefer to make my work without a camera. And I know when you first hear photography, no camera, maybe that raises some alarm bells. You're a little confused, but don't worry. I'm going to walk you through what that means and how I got here. So, I actually trace my journey back to a moment that I had with a bird. It was the COVID year, which we've heard about. And I was living at home with my family on our family farm. And I kept noticing this really bright white bird that was flying around. And when I investigated, I realized that it was actually a red tailed hawk. But it had a genetic mutation that caused all of its feathers to be bright white. And I thought, man, I have to get a photograph of that bird. So I spent months walking every day. I would put my camera in the car and drive up and down the valley 2 or 3 times a day. If I went out for errands, I took my camera with me. I really wanted to figure out, where does this bird live? When does it like to hunt? I just had to have my camera with me at all times, just in case I would see it. And then one day, after months of chaotic, obsessive pursuing of this bird, I thought, okay, personal ambition, I have to put it to the side. I just want to walk in this beautiful landscape on this beautiful place, be present in the moment, and enjoy my environment. And as you've maybe guessed, the one time that I did not take my camera, that bird flew right out in front of me. You know those moments where they say, "Oh, if I reached out, I could have touched it." It really felt that close. I was pretty devastated at first, and I thought, how could I have left my camera? What a stupid choice. But then by the time I got to the end of that walk, I actually realized the camera would have just been in the way. And then actually all the other times that I'd gone out with my camera, when I'd see the bird, it would be a split second before, boom, and there was a block in front of me, a barrier between me and the experience, between me and the bird. So I wasn't really being in that moment the same way. And this caused a huge crisis for me. And I thought, do I even want to make photographs? Right before I was going to go to grad school for photography. So let that sink in. And this uneasiness, it kind of stuck with me my first couple of years. And I was really questioning the roots of the medium, asking, what is a photograph? Is there something out there that makes sense for me that can get me past this conflict? And when you break down the word photograph, photo means light and graph means to record. So there's actually no mention of a camera or a specific process or a certain material. You just need light and a light sensitive surface. So I took that new simplified definition and I ran with it. I knew that I had traditional black and white darkroom printing materials and that photo paper would capture light and I had light in abundance. So I really got into this process called contact printing, where you start with a base layer, and for me this was that light sensitive paper, and then you put an object in direct contact with it. You expose it to light, add the photochemicals that create the blacks, the grays, the whites, the different tones, and that's how you get your image. So I experimented with that, and it was really amazing for me because it changed what I expected a photograph could look like. So in this slide, if I told you that I was going to show you a photograph of hay, this might be something that you would imagine seeing. But with that cameraless contact printing that I mentioned, now a photograph of hay could instead look like this. And if I just took that material out into the sun instead of exposing it to the fluorescence inside, hay could look like this. Now, when we talk about photography, we often talk about memory, and you heard that in my intro. And a lot of times when we're thinking about memory, we're thinking about, oh, if I take this photograph, I can capture this moment, I can preserve it. And we think about that visual connection, that it's going to be a reminder of what happened. And when I'm making a photograph like this, I'm actually also thinking about memory, but embodied memory. So when I process these photographs, I'm actually physically engaging through the whole process with my senses. Every piece of material that I put down for that contact print, it has to pass through my hands. I'm feeling the different textures and shapes that are going onto the canvas, if you will. I'm also, as you can see, sometimes walking across and feeling the pressure from the different shapes up against the bottom of my feet. And also, I'm hearing it crack and break. In this case, it was dry hay. There's this crinkling sound. And then when I take it into the wash bath at the end of the process, I'm hearing the water run for 40 minutes. And I'm also smelling things. I smell that hay and I smell the photochemistry as I'm pouring it and it's starting to bake in the sun. And what's also important about these process images that I noticed as I was reflecting on them, there's also no camera blocking my vision. So not only am I engaging with these other senses, but I'm fully engaged with my vision the entire time. So the process becomes just as important as the experience of the final print. I want to return to that bird that I told you about. I did get some camera photographs of it. I told you I was out for months, so I did get one or two images, more like 1,000. But to be quite honest with you, I don't really ever look at this. And to make this presentation, I had to go into my archive of old memory cards and file through them and find where the original files were because I don't have it in any kind of special place. I don't pull it out and look at it because I've already got it in there already. Now, maybe the detail of the beak isn't as sharp and I can't see all the little pieces of its feathers. But I remember how I froze when it flew out in front of me. My heart was pounding. I felt like if I even breathe, this is going to be over. It's going to be not real. And I remember just a blaze of white against a clear winter sky. And I don't want any of you to go away from this talk thinking, oh, cameras are bad. I mean, for those of you who don't know, Oxford was in the path of the total eclipse on Monday. And you better believe I took my camera out. But I also made a really intense, intentional choice that I was going to spend part of the eclipse in totality when it was safe to remove my glasses, of course. That I was just going to stand with my eyes and the moment to really let it sink in what was happening. So I'd like to encourage you today that if there are moments where you feel that urge to make a photograph, especially if it's because you're afraid I'm not going to remember this later, maybe try putting the camera back down and just engaging with that moment one-on-one. And you might actually be surprised by how much you remember. Thank you.